You're listening to Brandon Sports Talk, interviewing professional athletes and Paralympians and Olympians. And now for your professional athlete interview and your host, Brandon P. Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the USA Handball Indoor Handball athlete Saga Nordin. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play handball?
Well, I play handball over in Norway, and growing up there, it's a sport that everyone kind of plays. It's almost the equivalent to growing up here in the US. As a young kid, you start playing soccer. So it was more, I honestly didn't want to start playing, but I had some friends who kind of forced me to start playing for the team. After one practice, I was sold. And I came home and I told my parents, I think I was around 9 years old, and I told my parents, this is what I want to do. So ever since then, so for the past 12 years, I've been playing handball daily, basically.
Of course, what was that like getting started at such a young age?
Well, for me, it's kind of just always been part of my life in a way. And growing up, my dad always had to remind me that handball is something I play, it's not who I am. And just because being a young athlete and starting so early, you kind of get caught up in what do you do without the sport. And I think a lot of athletes who start out playing a sport very young can probably agree with me there. But yeah, it's like I've always really liked playing, so it's never been kind of a bother for me to put so much time and energy and focus and have to prioritize that over other things that also seem fun to do, but not necessarily something I could do at the same time as playing at a high level.
How was it like, obviously, playing on the club level of Tourette's?
It's good. Play in the Norwegian second division. We have a lot of good players. We're a pretty new team. Well, it's been a team that's been along for a long time, but it's more the team has almost completely changed from last season. So I'm also one of the new players there. Still working on finding my role and finding my position in the team, but I think just with the team dynamic and us working together, we make progress weekly.
What was your experience like coming and joining the Team USA handball team?
It was actually quite interesting. I basically woke up one day with an email from the head coach at that time, and he wanted me to come to a camp in Spain, like a week later. The women's national team is often self-funded, so I was just kind of basically went straight to an airline site and booked a ticket. And I've been on the team ever since. I've been to every training camp since, and it was a very fun experience. It was very different. I would say American and European, both playing style, coaching style, athletic style. It's very, very different. And growing up in Europe, it was a process to become a part of the team and understand the team dynamic in the US. But as soon as that all was figured out and sorted out and you kind of found your place, it's just been a lot of fun. And there's been so many experiences. And I have friends on this team that'll be friends for a lifetime.
What has that experience been like learning handball on the US side versus, obviously, as you said, learning it on the European side?
Well, so the US national team consists of a lot of players who play in Europe and a lot of players who have been playing from a young age. But we do also consist of many players who haven't started until basically college age. So the US national team has often recruited players from other sports. There is a difference with players who learn the sport at an older age than us who have learned it from being a young child, basically. It's kind of cool how we've been able to have so many different experiences brought into the same team. And there's so many different backgrounds. Everyone has their own story. All of these different sports backgrounds also have played a part in our development because let's say if you've been part of a cross country team or a track and field team and you run a lot. We in handball run a lot. So you can bring elements from other sports into handball and work on that and grow based off of what you've done previously in other sports, but just kind of bring it over to handball.
What was that experience like for you getting to put on that Team USA handball jersey?
The first time I put on my official jersey was for the North American Championships in Chicago last year. And it was a very cool experience. I've always grown up with a dream of playing for a national team and being able to represent the US and being part of this growth within the US is a very exciting experience. And you stand there and you feel proud. Like you're singing the national anthem and you're looking at the flag. You're with a group of people who have been working hard together to be able to succeed and reach our goals. And it's cool being part of a team that is looked upon as an underdog in a way and really taking every chance we have to prove people wrong. So the first time I put on the jersey, it was a very surreal experience, and I had to take a few seconds to really take it all in and look around and see what my surroundings basically.
How was that experience like for you competing in the World Championship in Chicago?
Well, it wasn't the World Championship. It was the North American Championship, but it was the qualifiers to the World Championship. So it was a very cool experience. Sadly, we did not qualify, but we did take a big step within. There's, in a way, a bit of a generation change. So the team today consists of 5 players who played pre-COVID, and the rest are all new. So it's a huge generation change within the team, and being part of that change and being part of us kind of taking a new step in a new direction has been really cool, as at the same time as being able to listen to the experiences the our so-called veterans, as we call them, have and what they've been through, and just kind of taking it all in. So yeah.
What are some of your accomplishments so far in the sport of handball?
Well, that's a good question. I have for my club team, growing up, I've for every single national series there's been in Norway, my club team has qualified for, and we've even taken a medal in one of the national series as a youth 18 player. The year COVID hit, we were a really good team, and sadly, it all kind of canceled. So we never were able to finish the season, but we were in a very good position, and I do think we were at least up for the medal, I would say. And right now, we're actually at the Pan American qualifiers in Lansing, Michigan. So just this whole week with preparation and working hard, we're going to play our first game against Canada tomorrow. It's all been such a cool experience, and I'm very excited to see how we play together and how the game will go, if we win, if we lose, if we qualify. So there's a lot of exciting things waiting for Team USA handball.
Of course, what has it been like balancing playing at Norway and also playing for Team USA?
It's the handball aspect hasn't been hard to combine. My club back in Norway, they always let me travel for and participate in different camps and championships and whatnot. It's harder to combine it with school and work and all of those extra life things. So that's been the biggest issue, is especially with school, because I am in a nursing program and we have a lot of things we have to be there physically for. And they basically said there's no exception. So there was a period where I did think that I would have to take a gap year just to be able to come to this one camp that lasts for 12 days. So that's been the harder part, is being able to combine it with school, because not everyone is yay sports.
Of course, what are some of your accomplishments so far in the sport of handball?
Well, just being able to say that I am a USA team handball athlete, and being able to represent the United States, that must be my biggest accomplishment. It's growing up, everyone talks about being part of a national team, and now actually being here and playing and representing the country. It's without a doubt that is my biggest accomplishment.
How has that experience been like representing Team USA handball and playing some of the teams like Canada, Mexico, Argentina?
So the US, we've played um many different games against many different countries, and it varies a lot. A lot of the teams we can win against, a lot of the teams we lose against, and most teams we can both win and lose against. So we are in a place where we have to be very focused and sharp during our games and be precise with what we do. But right now we're in a position where we can win against anyone and lose against anyone. So it's really it's up to us what we are able to accomplish from now on out.
How has it been like, obviously, getting to travel the world as a professional athlete, representing handball, and going to all these amazing countries?
That must be one of my favorite parts. I love traveling in general, and being able to go to different parts of the world and experiencing different cultures, being exposed to so many different situations is always a lot of fun. You never know what you're going to get. And that's what's especially fun with talking to the players who have played for a longer time. They've been living at five-star hotels, and then right afterwards, they're literally at a place where there's no running water. So you honestly never know what's awaiting you, and that's in a way part of the adventure. And just being able to go to so many of these different places, and our coach, I would say she has a big focus on us also being able to experience the areas we are in. So for instance, we do work a lot with the French Handball Federation. So we've been at a few camps in the Paris area, and she always puts aside at least an afternoon or a longer time period, sometimes even a whole day, where we're able to go into the city, walk around, be kind of tourist, do all those things that you would want to do if you were traveling someplace for a vacation. But with that said, it is often a lot. You're in your hotel room, you eat, you're on your way to practice, you come home, you eat, you have a team meeting, sleep a little, new team meeting, new practice, food again, sleep again. So it is a really tight schedule. So even though we do travel a lot, it's always fun coming back to the same places, because then you get to experience the place more and more, and get a little bit more used to it.
Of course, for my listeners that don't know, what is the sport of handball and how do you play it?
So the sport of handball, it is a very high-paced, intense sport. It is a mix. If you're gonna mix a few different sports together, it's in a way basketball mixed with water polo, and the intensity and aggressiveness as football. So the court is a bit bigger than a basketball court. You have 6 players who are kind of field players and a goalie. So a total of 7 people playing at the same time. So 7 people per team. So a total of them 14. And it's high pace, high scoring. There's usually handball has now gotten to a point where most teams score around 30 plus goals per game. So within 60 minutes. So it's quite different from many American sports just because there's so much happening at the same time. And that is also one of the reasons people don't really understand why it hasn't blown up more in the US than it has, just because it's something Americans love. If they were to actually sit down and watch a handball game and get invested, I am almost 100% positive they would be committed fully to this sport.
Who are some of your favorite people that you play play with as teammates?
Ooh, that's a well. I have to say, one of my favorite players. Her name is Cecilia Brown, and she is also my roommate. In general, we live together. We met up at we were both coming to the same camp in Spain as our first camp together, and since then we've been best friends. And so she spontaneously moved across the country to live with me in Norway. And we also play for the same handball club in Norway, and we also play for the same national team, of course, here in the US. And at every single camp, we're also roommates. So we're never separated. So we're always with each other, but we have a very good dynamic. We always know where we have each other. We know when we can be angry with each other and when it's time to kind of cool off. So handball has made me meet her, and I'm extremely happy for that. And I also do need to say our captain, Julia Taylor. She's a great person. She cares about everyone. She really wants everyone to excel and succeed and meet all their goals. And she's always there. If anyone needs anything, she's always a go-to person to talk to. She's very open. If she's experiences any form of criticism towards her, she just takes it all in and is thankful and happy that she can kind of grow from that. And she's a super person. So I would say the whole team, but we don't have time for me to just tell all the names and all the players. But if I were to pick out especially two people, those would be the two.
Who are some of the influential people in your career that have shaped you into the handball player that you are today?
So I would say especially my dad. While my parents have been very supportive and they've always been there. They've always driven me to every practice. They've always been at every game. And especially my dad, handball became our thing. It was something that kind of only the two of us really did. And my mom, she would always watch and stuff, but my dad was especially invested. He was always part of every team I grew up playing for, either as some sort of coach or whatnot. So I think without all of his and my mom's support, I don't know if I would have gotten as far as I've gotten or if I would have even still be playing. So without a doubt, my parents, I'm extremely thankful for all the time they've put in, and time, energy, money. They've always been there for me, and as long as I've been willing to play and do my best and really work hard, they've always supported me.
What is some of your typical game day routines and rituals like?
So it's very based off of if it's a home game or an away game, and also when during the day. Usually our games are later on in the evening, around like 6 p.m. And I try to get a good night's sleep. I usually don't set an alarm for the morning, but I naturally wake up semi early, but I at least want to be rested. Have a good breakfast, either do a little easy pre game strength training and go to the gym, or go for a longer walk with my dog or something like that. Get up and kind of get moving. And the hour before I leave, that's when I start getting ready because I don't want to feel rushed. I want to be able to use my time, listen to music, kind of get into my own zone. And then as soon as I get to the arena, it's basically straight into the locker room, and the rest is get ready with the team and all those mental aspects that kind of come along with the game.
What is that feeling like getting to meet your fans and having them ask for your autographs and photos with you?
That has been a very fun experience. I've growing up, I used to be one of those girls who would run after and want an autograph and wanted my picture taken, and it would always make me so excited. And just to know that I'm kind of that person for now younger girls and boys growing up with handball. It's always a lot of fun when someone wants an autograph or wants a picture. It makes me feel important in a way, and also just knowing how much it gave me when I was younger, when people actually put off the time to talk to me and whatnot. It feels really cool to be able to kind of give back what I got.
How's that experience been like? Obviously, as you said, as a young athlete, you were one of those people that wanted autographs, and now that you're giving autographs out to those young athletes and those young fans, how's that experience been back looking at it full circle?
It's kind of cool because you never know who you're talking to, or you never know their life story. They often know a lot more about you than you know about them. And just kind of being a part in their life in a way, and being a part of their motivation mostly. It's a lot of fun, and you honestly never know who you're talking to. You may talk to someone who is one of the next USA national team members, but they're just very young. So that's a cool experience.
Of course, what are some of your future plans in the sport of handball?
So my goal is basically mostly I play because it's fun. As long as it's fun, I'm gonna continue playing. And I want to be as good as I possibly can be. I'm eager to continue learning. Every camp, every practice, every game is kind of a opportunity to analyze the play differently, to look where opportunities are, to continue learning and continue developing. So my main focus is basically just personal development and growth, and to see how far it takes me.
What advice would you give those players that are looking to play handball, whether in college or professionally?
I would say first and foremost, play because it's fun. And I think that's just in general, not just handball, but any sports, because it takes up a lot of time. And if you're not doing it because you genuinely want to do it, there's no use in doing it. And you have to, because you have to be dedicated to be able to get far, to go to every, you have to play every game, you have to sleep properly, you have to eat properly, you have to mentally prepare yourself for every game, you have to analyze the teams you're going to play against, you have to analyze your own games, you have to look at video, you have to look at different games, you have to look at different players, how do they play, what can I do differently so that I can become better. There's so many different elements within any sport in general. So without a doubt, put your time and energy into what you genuinely like doing.
What advice would you give those players that are looking to represent a national team, whether it's Team USA or another team?
Well, I would say just continue working hard, basically. And I do think your time will come. But at the same time, don't sit like in a passenger seat. Take control, take lead over your own situation, and contact the people you have to contact. Talk to the people you have to talk to. Build those contacts, build those relationships with people, and kind of get your name out there. Because there are so many good players and everyone can't represent a national team. There's just not enough spots. So, but being heard and being seen is the most important step into getting into a national team. And a lot of that has to be done by yourself. So reach out to people who can help you take a step in the right direction.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
So I am on Instagram mostly. My Instagram is saga.nordin. And that's my main social media platform, and that's where I post about handball, post about life, post about everyday living, basically.
Thank you again, Saga Nordin, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the U.S. Handball.
Thank you very much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Saga Nora, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.